Here's the first patient. Now, as you hear this, you'll see why he needs to sexualize women. Mom was always hurting me, hating me, yelling at me, striking me with anything, impatient, holding me to a higher standard than my sisters. She was angry, controlling, usually mad at Dad for being gone so much. We had no money and so many kids. Why? She's one of those women who makes love because that's her duty whenever he wants to. And he wants to a lot because he is love-starved. Who taught the little boy to sexualize? The daddy. If a man needs sex and his wife gives it to him whenever he wants, that will send messages to the children, even though they never see you making love. The father is sexualizing his missing love supply. The mother is a party to it. She's an enabler, and that's taught to the children.
How do we know that, though?
Subconsciously. Have you read the research on cells have intelligence, and they communicate cell to cell, and in the mother's womb, cells communicate with cells and can start babies out. I remember research back in the 70s where they had unwed mothers who were very anxious, very shamed, very disgraced in the olden days when sex was not the national form of recreation. And the doctors and pediatricians would press on the fetus in the mother's womb. And they had high anxiety women and low anxiety women, and of course these women were high anxiety, and they press on the fetus and it quickly turns away from the touch. And low anxiety women, they press on the fetus and it didn't move, it just stayed there and seemed to enjoy it. Before even born. So you see, cells do communicate, subconscious communicates with subconscious, and children can soon see something is weird going on here. And when they're exposed to porn, as everybody is and will be as time goes on, they will be hooked on it rather than think it's disgusting and stupid. Okay, with Mom, I felt in prison, stuck, inadequate, trapped, helpless. I hated myself. I blamed myself. I thought I was bad. If I wanted anything, I felt guilty for being male and costing her money. If only I was a girl, I felt small and terrified. See how this goes? What I wanted from Mom and never got, unconditional love, acceptance for who I was. I needed all the love supplies you talk about. I felt so small. I wrote in very small letters. It's a sign of shyness and negative self-concept. I resent that my mom never understood me. See the love supplies going down the tubes? Never knew me, never appreciated me. I was just a piece of furniture or a whipping boy. To other people, she was the town angel, but she really was the home witch. I was always neutral or negative toward her. Dad was always. Now, Dad wasn't like that. He was always gone. Dad was always gone, absent, just a Disneyland dad. He was away on work assignments for 6 to 10 months out of the year. He bought us gifts to compensate. With Dad, I felt set up. You take care of Mom and your sisters while I'm away. How could I take care of them when they were beating on me? I also wish that he would protect me from Mom and my sisters hitting me, that he would love and support me, and that I could trust him. I knew lots of hookers who were more protective of me and never tried to seduce me than Dad. See? Sexualizing the missing mommy. When he was 14, 13, I resent that Dad was gone so much and gave me no attention. I needed him to save my life, and he never did it. I do porn because I like big breasts. Of course. You think that woman nursed him when he was little? Heavens no, and if she did, it was the American average. I've had 3 people tell me in the last week, I weaned my baby at 6 months because that's the national average in America. That's because America's the sickest country in the world. They have breast fixations that won't quit in America, that they don't have nearly as much in third world countries. You know, the national average for nursing children in Europe, I think, is around 2 years, 18 months to 2 years. The average for third world country is 5 to 7 years. Of course, they're starved. That's all they can get. But anyway, don't wean your kid because it's time. The kid should decide that, and the kid will decide it. But if there's a mess going on, such as your need or his need, and it's a love substitute, then he'll nurse lots longer than he should. Yes?
When I had my daughter 30 years ago, a German woman became my friend there because eventually she was nursing an 11, a 13, a 15, a 17, and a 19-year-old.
Whoa.
What?
They'd come over and say,
They just
Yeah.
came over, that's exactly.
yeah, boobies, mom, boobies. That's what they say. I had a lady in my office, her little boy, boobies, mom, boobies. Now, that's really not right. And if you examine a woman who did that, you would see a lot of stuff going on, you
He
see.
was afraid they would be malnutritious.
There it is, because she was in Germany in the Holocaust, and so, and the kids knew that they were satisfying her to do this. Is there bad symbiosis when it goes on too long? But look, there's more than that going on here. I do porn because I like big breasts, and I think I know why. They make me feel comforted and satisfied because I seldom wanted to be around my mom or sisters. I was nursed briefly, then stopped. See? He said, I'm very visual and curious about all the different shapes of breasts. I don't like other body parts, only breasts. A shapely behind is nice. I feel the need to sexually perform looking at breasts. I just feel satisfied and comforted. Breasts are beautiful, you know. The porn pictures are of soft, warm females. Now you'll know his favorite porn pictures, too. It's all about breasts. Instead of the cruel and hard women I was raised around. See softness as opposed to cruel and hard? They are comfortable like a favorite chair or a binky. They replace the agony of my childhood with women. I have sexual dysfunction and porn is safe from failure. You see these causes? It's exciting, it's a rush because he never had it. I am also overweight, and on a bad day, food is a great comfort too. Lizard brain. And how was it formed? You see? Was he hit? Yes, his body was rejected, neglected, hurt, and used. Case number 2. Now that's an extreme form, isn't it? But that guy got over porn. He was able to do it. Case 2. Probably 30. So, Mom always made me want to run away. See how this starts out? She was very strict with me, spanking me. There's the body hurting. She was always watching TV, volunteering at school for an excuse to be away from home and to look good. See, she was a rescuer, a caretaker. She was practical, rational, but very restricting and sick. What is rescuer and caretaker? Is that giving in order to get? Yes, and that empties out a kid. Mom made me feel that she was always a step ahead of me. I had to always be on my toes. I was inferior to her. I could never catch up to her or be better than her. I felt pushed, shy, afraid, cautious, on guard. I was quiet but angry. I was the punching bag at school and teased at church. Mom drove me to and from school every day so I wouldn't get beat up. See, his body's being abused, isn't it? What does that body need? A lot of turn-ons, food, sex, drugs. I felt like a failure. I felt like rejected. Now, that when he talks about porn, I do porn because you're going to see safe. You won't get rejected. You won't be a loser. You won't fail. And also getting the love from. One thing I wanted from Mom and never got, her ability to think on her feet, her insight, her wisdom, her depth, to know what to do about my peers bullying and hurting me. She didn't know what to do. I resent that Mom manipulated me to make statements I didn't want to say. See, she used him. Remember, used, abused, rejected, neglected. She was biased, racist, opinionated, insisted on being right, cocky, prejudiced. She cussed a lot and was not spiritual. I could not talk to her about certain things like sex or deep feelings. I couldn't talk to Dad about these things either. The other day, a pretty girl passed by and a voice inside me said, "Why would she ever want you?" I began to cry. I thought, I am a failure. Big boys don't cry. You're no man at all. See what he's done? Stereotypes, gender stereotype, shot down his maleness. Now, when he finishes the sentence, I do porn because you're going to see, I'm wanted, I'm accepted, I'll never fail, I'm a real male. You get it? I began to cry. I thought, I'm a failure. Why would she ever want you, you idiot, right? My wife and women reject me, and men do too. I cannot satisfy my wife or measure up to her. See how this is going to go down? Dad was always strict, impatient, a hard worker. He frequently changed his mind. He was quiet and did not show emotion. He was closed up, stubborn, judgmental. His silence could kill you. Remember that saying, if looks could kill, I'd be dead. He was quick to give advice and solutions, but he did not listen. See the love supplies? He did tons of number 5, none of number 1. He was bossy, tried to act interested, and was sports-minded. That's performance. Use your body to make me happy in sports. With that, I felt inadequate, unimportant, invisible, insignificant, unprotected, the scapegoat. I was fearful of his silence and felt helpless. I wanted to give up. What's the use of trying? I felt inferior to my brother and to my dad. I wanted dad to be proud of me. That's performance equals worth. I wanted dad and never got. What I wanted from dad and never got. I wanted to be right, to be listened to, for him to be fair, to be less controlling, to give me more choices, hugs, good talks. I could not talk to him. See where we get the love supplies chart from? Listen to this stuff for 45 years. You can make your love supplies chart right up. This is from the real world. This wasn't taught in graduate school. Because the professors were not in private practice. They were doing research. I do porn because... Now listen to this, and you'll see how he's trying to fill all those unmet needs. I do porn because it's more exciting than my boring, failed life. Excitement. The women in the porn pictures seem to be enjoying themselves. They look happier than I am. Dr. Ellsworth, they're smiling at me. Of course they're paid to. And why does he need women that will accept him? Because he never had it. Remember, porn people usually have been rejected by mothers, sisters, girls at school, and wives. I do porn because it's an escape from my painful life. Porn is a way to escape from my critical wife, who is domineering and superior like my mom was. Why did he marry his mom? You'd think he wanted the opposite from her, because it's a known, familiar way. Remember, I taught you that in the chapter on romantic love. Porn is a way to escape my critical wife, who is dominating spiritually. It's acceptance when I feel rejected. I can go there when I am tired of fighting and struggling with my wife and kids. It's pleasurable. I feel like I'm in control. See why he needs to be in control? Because he never is. Walter Mitty, The Secret Life of Walter Mitty. Anyone see that? James Thurber. I feel like I'm in control when I really feel helpless, hopeless. I'm just spinning my wheels. He's stuck in life, see? Porn offers me an escape from my frustrations. I feel warm, wanted, welcomed, in charge, accepted, and I feel safe from rejection and emptiness and from feeling like a nerd and a geek. Okay? Now, if you read through this chapter, there's 10 patients saying things like this in a very different way. You soon start to learn addictions are a dependency, and it's a love substitute, it's a survival skill, and they're supplying things the poor person doesn't have. And here's graphic proof. It's better than the research. Yes?
So, okay, I have a husband who's been rejected by his mother. She's been dead over a year.
Uh-huh.
How can I, as a wife, help him,
Yes.
help him get those love supplies?
How can I help my husband get love supplies that he missed in childhood?
Right.
And the answer is to take the love supplies chart, ask him what his favorite ones are, and try and give them to him. But it would be far better for him to read something like this and for you and him to discuss, when do I act like your mom? Because remember, parent to spouse transferences is a royal road to divorce. So you want to know, when am I acting like your mom? Please say it. Please tell me, honey, you're acting like my mom. You don't mean to, And when is he acting like your dad? So you want to talk stuff out. Read these books together. Knowledge is power. And then it says in the True to the Faith book, never let anything come between you and your spouse. Learn the laws and the rules and use them to your power. Say, honey, I think I'm getting into your wound. Has he ever told you if he has a rejection wound, a controlling wound, an abandonment wound? Have you ever shared yours with him? Have you ever written down all your negative styles and asked him to add to it? And then said, John, why don't you write down all yours and I'll add to it? And these are our enemies. And you can even say, where did I get these from? Where did you get these from? That's fun to do. Of course, the greatest thing you can do with your spouse is get the John Bradshaw book, Homecoming, and do those 4 exercises in the infancy stage, the toddler stage, the preschool stage. Look on page 98. It says working with a partner. I almost stopped doing group work because some of the people were having affairs with each other because they got so close in the group therapy. Someone understood them. Someone loved them. Someone listened to them. They could talk about this deep stuff. Do you see? Okay. Okay, let's do case number 3. Mom was always strict, rigid, gone, closed up. See, it's the same thing over and over. She didn't relate to me. She had tunnel vision, no compassion. She was the referee. She cared for me, but she was too rigid. She was insensitive, polarized, narrow-minded, opinionated. With Mom, I felt inferior, judged, lonely, rejected, sometimes smart. And she and I didn't get along. None of us kids got along. See, so it's a home of fighting. She expected me to compromise her. I became angry because she didn't understand my point of view. I felt unloved, criticized, dumb, and inferior. I felt I didn't measure up. I could never please her. I soon gave up. I rebelled. Then I went back to trying to please her so her anger would decrease. One thing I never got from Mom, praise, listening, affection. See, they're right off the love supplies chart. Quality time without criticism. I wanted her to explain her views to me, to not criticize mine. She gave up with Dad. She didn't stand up to him. I resent that my mom wasn't as caring as other moms. She tried and gave up. All us kids resisted her because of Dad, and she gave up. Now, with Dad, what are you going to predict here? Dad was always somewhere else. He was always working. He was always gone. Now, is there such a thing as homosexual porn? Yes. Lots of people do homosexual porn because they are sexualizing the missing same-sex parent. This book is about heterosexual porn because it's the majority of what you find. One thing I never got from Mom, praise, listening. Dad was always gone. He was inconsistent. He didn't finish anything. See that procrastination we talked about? I loved him, though. He was smart, patient, and funny. He was a balance to Mom. See, dads are not as bad as moms in this kind of thing, but they're still not too good. Why? Because sick people don't marry well people. Sicks marry sicks, wells marry wells, right? Disciplined by spanking and lecturing, so you see his body was getting hurt, so he needed that to be turned on. He was away from home a lot. He didn't help with homework. He was a workaholic, and he was permissive. See, I didn't know if he was going to slap me or kiss me. He mostly neglected us. He tried to hug us after a spanking. Is that the time to hug? No. Or telling your kid, now you make up with her. You tell her you're sorry. I'm sorry. Right? That's a horrible thing to do, and it's rape of feelings anyway. Okay. With that, I felt incomplete, that I didn't do anything right. I lied to avoid work. He was a hypocrite. He didn't live the gospel. He expected us to do it. See the double standard? You kids go to church. I'll pick you up afterwards. I felt stupid, slow, dumb, undirected, and neglected. I wanted what I wanted from Dad and didn't get a hug. See the kids' need for physical affection. And he got spanked. Remember those 4 things: rejected, neglected, abused, and used the body. One-on-one time, it wasn't work time. So if you had any one-on-one time with Dad, it was to work. Quality time. We only shared duty time. I wanted him to teach me how to play football. I wished he would watch less TV. I wished he would not lie. I knew he had affairs. I knew he did porn. He kept condoms in his car, and he denied everything. What's that father teaching the kid? Sexual lies, missing love supplies, right? I resent that Dad cheated, lied, wasted money, didn't love being with us. He was on his own trip. He was love-starved, neglected us, and was a poor example. I always thought Dad had to endure Mom. Now I see it was the other way around. Good. Took him 20 years, right? Now listen to this. I do porn because I've practiced sexual self-gratification with and without porn since I was a teenager. And you know what most guys say? 10, 11, 12, I was doing this. It's a habit. It puts me to sleep. It makes me feel relaxed. When I'm bored or lonely, porn makes me feel better about myself. It makes me feel complete and loved as a human male. I feel superior, competent, euphoric, satisfied, needed. Porn is a body turn-on because I had a non-open family. In high school, I was rejected because I was fat. And why was he fat? Because he used food for love substitutes, because his body was hip and criticized. Go ahead.
I have to go back up a couple.
Uh-huh.
Said, I wanted from Dad and didn't get.
Uh-huh.
So there were sexual lies. What did it lead to?
Yeah. The dad was using sex as a love substitute, so he taught it to the kids. Kids coming out of a relationship like this, when they run into Playboy or Penthouse or something like that, they're going to be fascinated by it. Whereas a kid from a healthy home will say, isn't that disgusting? Doesn't that girl know that her body's precious and sacred? She shouldn't be doing it. I wonder if she's cold. But porn kids aren't going to wonder if she's cold, right? Or that she's, poor thing, she's just an airhead, you know? They don't know that these girls are anorexic, bulimic, with implants and on and on. They don't understand that because they're so love-starved. Remember how we used to say, well, in the olden days, a lot of the kids in the high school smoked. And almost everyone got to try smoking. And some kids loved it and smoked the rest of their lives. And others, this tastes awful. And they never did it again. So what's the difference between a kid that thinks porn is disgusting and, sacrilegious, and the girls are airheads because they don't know their bodies are sacred, and a kid that gloms onto it, sneaks to look, and fantasizes love substitutes? Do you see? It's how they were raised. Has nothing to do with their genes or their chemical makeup or the hormones in the mother's womb or blah, blah, blah. And in many cases, the father does it too. A teenager soon watches to see his father lusting after other women. He knows the dad does it. If he finds porn in his drawer or condoms in his car, you get it? He's going to know. Dad taught me indirectly. He did body turn-ons too. He did food, sex, and beer. Now, these 10 patients never read this book because it wasn't written. So they can't make up these responses. It comes right out of their life. And usually this is the first or second or third interview that they're finishing these kinds of sentences. So what you want to do is start to see, now here's one that's different. Mom was always loving, caring, and worrisome. She dedicated her life to us kids. You get that? She would give in order to get. The kids were her major primary source of love. She's monkey brain, but she never worked outside the home, but she didn't listen to us. She took things from us. They were for her, not for us. She questioned us too much. She spanked us with a belt about once a week. I was adopted. I think she just needed a baby to suck from. Get it? Mom made me feel secure, loved, but also she made me mad, hurt, embarrassed, humiliated, and misunderstood. I could not express myself very well. I was shy. I was scared. I felt so much pain. Do you see what porn will do for this poor guy? I waited from Mom. I wanted from Mom and never got. To know she loved me, even though I was adopted. To calmly explain herself to me. To listen to me. I resent that Mom hit me with a belt. More people say that. Spank me, hit me. And even if they were only spanked 4 times in their whole life, they never forget it, you see. The body is so sacred. It should never be smacked with a belt. Hit me with a belt. She had no empathy and misunderstood me. She became so angry. Why? Because she needed the children for her worth and her love. And when they didn't fill her perfectionistic, need-based expectations, she would erupt. The greater the anger, the greater the dependency. Will you remember that? The greater the sadness or pain or depression, the greater the dependency. I was rejected throughout school. She became so angry. She listened to her mother's sick advice on how to raise kids. Her mother hit her, right? I was teased a lot and had no close friends. Sex fills a need in me, and especially it gives me attention. Then he went on. Dad was always there. He loved us. He worked hard. We were poor. He taught us to work hard. He was a farmer. His negative self was closed up, and he had no gift for expression. Around him, I always felt like a no-good teenager. He even threw me up against the wall for becoming angry and sassing Mom. He was too strict and not trusting. Mom and Dad were the united front, and they ganged up on the kids. That's wrong, united front. Anyway, what I wanted from Dad never got: more attention, understanding, etc. I do porn because, now listen to this, it made me feel accepted, makes me feel guilty afterwards, but during porn, I feel relieved and relaxed. Porn fills a need in me. Viewing private parts makes me feel that I'm loved, that someone is sharing something very personal with me, because his mom never would, right? They like me. I feel close to them, warm, praised, adequate, capable, curiosity, welcomed in a private, intimate setting. Boys and girls never liked me. Maybe these girls will. I get attention to make up for all of the rejection. My babysitters molested me at ages 3, 6, and 9. What did they teach him? I didn't feel connected to mom because I was adopted, and I was not as close to her as were the other kids. I could never get enough of mom or any female. But when I see those porn girls, I feel wonder, awe, beauty, excitement, and closeness. It is as though they are on a higher plane. I feel a bonding connection to them by intercourse through self-gratification, viewing private parts as a sign of closeness to a higher being, very intense from a love-starved man. My wife does not make herself available to me very often, but porn and sexual self-gratification are always available. They make my pain go away, and they make me feel good after so much mental anguish. I have been put down so much in my life. I need praise, success, love, affection, and attention. Porn and sexual gratification do that for me. How's that guy going to get well and all those others? Inner child work, going back. Remember, what does the big self do? When you see the little starved kid, it either takes the kid away and gives the kid the love supplies he should have gotten, or it makes the father and mother do it right. Those are the two things the big self does. And that gradually will help the child to feel loved. And pretty soon he's going to learn a whole bunch of things, that those girls are sick and that all those fantasies are just fantasies. They will not work. And look at the trouble it's getting him into. These guys are, I told you that pornography use is the #1 cause of divorce. These guys are coming here because their wife is going to leave. In some cases, it would be good. But the best thing to do in an addiction, especially if it's about pornography or an affair or sexualization of any kind, is to have the wife and the husband in therapy, separately at first, and then together as they get more and more in their real selves. Any questions about the details of porn abuse and porn gratification? Yes.
Is there an age where this cannot be turned around?
No, there's no age where any negative self-style cannot be turned around. If a person wants to badly enough, they can do it. President Kimball once said, anyone can fix anything if they want to badly enough. But he meant these kinds of hang-ups, psychogenic problems. Okay, well, we hope that you'll think about this and see why it's not right to say, oh, there's a porn freak, ooh, yuck, ooh, I hate him. There, but for the grace of God, go I, right? So be compassionate, look at these things and see if you can be loving. But I forgive scorpions, but I don't put them down my neck. Don't let these kids babysit your 10-year-old girl, right? Okay, we'll see you tomorrow. We'll be talking about positive psychology, how you can tell your health.